to Senator Schaefer.
Thank you, Senator Jones. Thank you, Chairman Goodell, members of the Senate Judiciary and Criminal Justice Committee for allowing Senator Jones and me to present sponsored testimony on SB239. Like my colleagues said, this legislation was brought to our attention by Buckeye Firearms, the NRA, and Ohioans for Concealed Carry to support the changes that the bill will make in the concealed carry laws in Ohio. Ohio is the only state out of 48 that allows law-abiding citizens to carry a concealed firearm in a vehicle, but mandates how that weapon must be carried in the car. Current law specifies that a weapon must either be in a holster, in a closed glove compartment, in a locked case, or in a purse that is kept in plain sight. The bill will eliminate these mandated storage provisions from the law. However, the legislation does not modify the provisions of what you do when a licensee is pulled over and approached by a police officer. The licensee under this bill will still have to keep their hands in plain sight, promptly notify the officer of the presence of a handgun, do not touch or handle the handgun during the stop, stay in the vehicle unless instructed to exit the vehicle, and abide by the directions of the peace officer. This legislation merely removes the micromanaging provisions that say a gun must be kept in the car or how it will be kept in the car. We believe this will make sure that both Ohio residents and residents from other states who are carrying concealed are not arrested for abiding by the rules of traffic stop but accidentally putting their gun in the wrong place in the car. I really appreciate it and thank you for allowing us to speak on behalf of this legislation. Senator Jones and I will really make ourselves available for any questions you have.
Thank you very much, Senator. Are there questions or responses? Seeing no questions, second, take that back to the question. Senator Smith or Senator Schwab, who would like to ask?
I'll start. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have two questions. The first question is the definition. I didn't get a chance to look at the definition of an open air arena. Just making sure to see what that would be. Is that are we like talking baseball stadiums and stuff like that? Concert places?
Mr. Chairman, to Senator Schiavone, you look at all of this is addressing Class D permitting, and if you look at the list on beginning of 430313, that lists the type of permits. It's not addressing the change in definition. It's simply modifying. It's modifying that they can, if they're licensed, carry there. So I'm looking down at the definitions themselves, and instead of taking the committee's time, Mr. Chairman, I'll just look at it, maybe go on to the next question, and then get back to that.
So follow-up questions on that?
The only other question that I had was about the automobile park. I mean, it seems to me it looks, if you don't have it in a holster, you don't have it in a glove box, you don't have it in a lock box, and you don't have it in a purse in plain sight, the only places I'm thinking about is on the floor or the seat or on the roof or something. I mean, where else could you really put a gun? And it's kind of like, where are you trying to allow people to put their guns is what I guess I'm trying to get at.
Chairman Goodell, Senator Schiavone, what this bill gets to is the motive and the intent. To put it bluntly and succinctly, the bad guys are not going to follow the rules. They're not going to follow the law. They don't. That defines them as bad guys. They're going to hide it no matter what. And chances are tremendous that they're not going to be a CCW holder. They're not going to have a license. So this, you could even argue that this doesn't even apply to the bad guys. What this does is prevents good, honorable, law-abiding Ohioans and visitors to our state from unknowingly committing a crime when there was no intent. If there was a way we could get the intent of the bad guys and we could, solve that problem, that would be an incredible piece of legislation. But this bill is just to clean up what we have perceived in our supporters, the NRA, and Buckeye Firearms, and Ohio's Concealed Carry have identified as very serious potential problems for the law-abiding people.
Thank you, Senator Schaefer. Thank you, Mr. Chair. And Senator Jones, we can talk about it down the road. It's just a question that I had.
Mr. Chairman, if you look on the bill analysis, Senator Schiavone, beginning on page 11 of the bill analysis, it details under the comment section all of the types of D permits.
Okay.
And Mr. Chairman, I'd be happy to talk with you, Senator Schiavone, after the committee or at times convenient for you to answer any additional questions you might have.
I appreciate that.
Certainly.
Any other questions?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Yes, Senator Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Senator Jones, in your testimony, one of the things that you asked for is that the person be able to carry as long as the licensee is not drinking. How do you know that that licensee will not be drinking?
Mr. Chairman, to the Senator, thank you for the question. I suppose that it would be the same way that we would know in any other premise where the concealed handgun is carried. Under current law, this is a current provision of law, a concealed handgun owner cannot be consuming or under the influence of alcohol or drugs.
But how can we be sure, Mr. Chairman, that that person is not under the influence or will not drink?
Mr. Chairman, to the Senator, all I can say is that there's not been any evidence set forward that there are people who have licensed handguns who are drinking, since there are very little revocations of this permitting. And so current law that's in existence right now would continue with the passage of 239. There are no changes to that provision.
Mr. Chair, just one more question. So I guess we can safely say that people who carry don't drink.
Mr. Chairman, I think it's safe to say that there is no connection, showed no connection that people who lawfully follow the law and carry concealed, that they aren't following the law. I believe, in fact, that people who lawfully license to carry concealed have every intention of following the law. That's why they go through the procedure of obtaining a license. If it was their interest in not following the law, I'd suggest to you that perhaps they wouldn't go through the rigorous training and licensing process to do just that.
Thank you.
If I could interject, I take it it's probably the same way when we say it's illegal to drink and drive. We don't know everybody who's drinking and driving until we have some reason to stop them, and if we stop them and they're under the influence of alcohol, they're violating the law. The same would be true here. We don't know if everybody who's concealed has been drinking or not, but if they get caught drinking while concealed, they're going to have a severe penalty, just like the drunk driver. Would you agree with that analysis?
Absolutely, Mr. Chairman.
Any other questions? No other questions? Excellent testimony. Thank you so very much for your testimony.